Hey champions, it's Chum here, back with another Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield discussion video, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the map of the Galar region in which the games take place. So, if you guys don't know, we actually did get a full preview of the map in the Pokemon Direct, and I gotta say, there's a lot of things you can see in this map, and a lot of things you can infer from it. So without further ado, let's start breaking down the map of the Galar region. And to start off with, let's begin at the very bottom of the map, where you can see two houses on like this southern border of the island. I guess you can call it the border, at least of what looks like a playable space. On the left we have a yellow roof house, on the right we have a red roof house. Now to me, and judging my screenshots we see early on in the trailer, this looks to be where you start the game. The house on the left looks very similar to your house where you start off, or at least what seems to be where you start off. So I'm going to assume this is your home, and across the river, I guess, I imagine is going to be the Pokemon Professor's Laboratory. So that's going to be really cool. Definitely keen to see what that's going to look like. We do get a little bit of a sneak peek into what I think looks like the laboratory. We see the female trainer standing inside a sciencey, knowledgeable-esque building. There's a library, there's some, technology monitoring some stuff, so it definitely seems like the lab itself. And then if we make our way north from this town, we're going to find ourselves on Route 1, and we actually get a nice glimpse of what this next town looks like in the game. You guys can see we're looking down upon the town from Route 1, and there's a lot of things you can see here. First of all, there's a good amount of buildings. Again, the game looks beautiful, but if you look to the right of the sign, just behind that building, there's actually a train that is stopped at what looks like to be a train station. And I gotta say, there are train tracks all over this map, and while we've had trains in previous games that would take us from A to B, this game really seems very heavily focused on the trains, and it seems to me like the trains are going to be a really major way to travel throughout the region. Like I said previously, we'd just go from point A to point B and back again, and there'd be no other interaction with that. I think this train network is actually going to get us throughout the entire region, and I think that's a really cool way to kind of move around, incorporate some kind of fast travel. Who knows, I'm sure like there's going to be other ways to fast travel, but this might be kind of like an early game fast travel, and you get like the more traditional fly towards the end of the game. So really cool stuff. I definitely like the idea of, kind of bringing the Pokemon games into more modern times. Until Generation 7, I think, we didn't even have cars in the game, so again, seeing this form of public transport and stuff like that, and seeing the game be a little more advanced is really cool. If we look over into the, top right-hand corner of this sort of town we see after Route 1, we actually see a house here. Now, this seems to be some kind of, like, story element building, which isn't really, like, you go here to progress and go beyond to another further location. It just seems like one of those out-of-the-way locations that you go to have some story-based stuff happen. Maybe even later in the game, who knows? But it seems really cool, and, of course, a lake in the middle. Can't really infer too much about that, but it does look pretty great. And then if we kind of make our way a little further north, we can actually see a big open plains area, which honestly, dude, this place confuses me. This area is about 1/4 of the size of the entire island, maybe a little bit less than that, but still really sizable. And that is an enormous chunk of the region to have no buildings apart from like one small little building at the most south part of this open area, which seems to be maybe the train station there. Maybe you can catch the train into that area. And then in the top left hand corner of this big open section, we also have some kind of like broken down tower, which seems to be maybe some remnants of an older civilization. Who knows? But it seems really cool, and I can imagine that will tie into the lore of the game. Judging by the name Sword and Shield for the game, it seems like this game is going to have something to do with knights and knighthood, and given that the fact that this map is based on the UK, I'm imagining something to do with Arthurian lore, which could be really cool. And I gotta say, I should talk to my friend Luke about this because he loves Arthurian lore. Maybe he can give me some more ideas as to how this game might pan out. Either way, if we look to the left of this big open area, we can see a bridge, which I imagine is the train tracks that connects the southernmost part of the island to, like, I guess the mid-northern part of the island. So we'll go and talk about that right now. The first thing we can see in the mid-northern part of the island is a big town, and we get a few good glimpses at what this town looks like. And I have to say, I really like the design of this town. When I was talking to a friend just after the reveal, I was mentioning how the cities in this game look very similar to the kind of cities you'd see in a Pokemon movie. Now, traditionally we'd have cities where it's like, a bunch of different buildings, but they all kind of had a similar style, and they weren't really that stand out. But when you look at the towns and the cities that you see in Pokemon movies, they're always really outlandish with some crazy theme that makes them really unique. If you look at the most recent Pokemon movie, I believe it's called The Power of Us, That movie had a town that was based solely on the power of the wind, because they used Lugia's power and the wind to power their entire city. And the way that city was designed was really, really unique, and it made it kind of stand out a lot to me. It wasn't just, oh, it's a big city, it's like the New York or the Las Vegas of this region, but rather something really unique. So I really like that, and this seems to have that kind of idea. I feel like the word steampunk is definitely not the right word to use, and I can't think of anything else. I'm just going to call it steampunky. We do see some kind of heavy industrial machinery like that as well, so it looks really, really cool. I like the city. It has a big clock tower, or what looks like a clock tower in the middle, so really, really cool. I can't see any kind of resemblance of a gym in this town, so maybe there isn't one, or maybe it's kind of more hidden. But if we move on a bit to the northeast of that area, we can see another town that we get a great glimpse of in the trailer. In fact, we kind of see the whole town, and this is, I don't know what you'd call it, but it seems more like a rural kind of farm town. And you can see in the middle of this town, from this in-game screenshot, we have a giant building in the middle, which looks to be a Pokemon gym. If you look just above the doors, you can see a giant, like, badge emblem, I guess, that has a leaf inside of it. So I'm assuming this is going to be the grass type gym. And a little bit later in the trailer, we actually get a better screenshot of this building, and you can see these symbols on the glass beside the door, as well as on the sign out front, which to me seems to be the Pokemon League symbol, which of course would indicate this is definitely going to be a gym. I can't imagine what else it would be. And of course, if you look at a bunch of other towns, you can see there's more than one of them, and they're all over the place. So this makes me think they're definitely going to be gyms, and not just some random one-off stadium, especially since why would you have this random one-off stadium in the most rural farm town looking place in the game? Either way, I do have a bunch of stuff I want to talk to you guys about the gyms in the game, and why I think they're going to be really different compared to the gyms that we've seen from generations 1 through 6, but I'll probably save that for another video, because I definitely have a lot I want to say. Either way, like I said, this seems like the town for the grass type gym. It looks quite nice. It's very small. It kind of seems really homey, and it gives me the vibe of what would be the first gym of the region. I'm not too sure about that. It does seem like we had to go past this big town, but maybe we hit the small, grass gym town first, then make our way back into the bigger, industrial city. Who knows? Either way, if we take our eyes and look to the hill, to just to the left of the gym, we'll see this weird kind of etching in the hill, and we actually get a great in-game screenshot of that, and you can see there's this crazy, ridiculous, like, painting or artwork carved into the mountain. Now, honestly, looking at this artwork, I have no idea what to expect. When I first saw this, the only thing that came to my mind was it is a gigantic Big Bird. Like, yes, I mean Big Bird from Sesame Street, like blowing out like what looks like maybe a stream of smoke, which then drops lightning bolts on this random little creature beneath it. And there are other creatures beneath it that kind of seem like, like humanoid, simian, but there's also a pig looking thing. I do not know what to expect with this painting, or what it could possibly mean. I honestly have no clue. So if you guys have any idea what this thing can mean, could it potentially be the legendary Pokemon of the region? But if it is the legendary Pokemon, would it be different in the two separate games? Would the two games have different, artwork or, whatever you want to call it, carved into the side of the mountain? Who knows? Could it even potentially lead to the third legendary of the game? You know how we typically have, like, Kyogre, Groudon, then Rayquaza. Could this be the Rayquaza of the generation? Who knows? It seems pretty crazy. There's definitely a lot of things you can speculate about this hill and what's carved into it. Right now I have no ideas, but I'd definitely love to see what you guys think in the comment section below. Either way, guys, that's enough about this hill. Let's move our attention over to the west coast of the region, and we can see another kind of smallish town. This one seems to be a port town, and once again we see this big stadium building, which of course to me seems like a gym. And judging by the coloring and the scenery that this town is based around, this seems to me like it's going to be a water type gym. I think it's really, really cool. It's a really nice town. We usually tend to see some kind of, harbor town in every single game, but the thing that has me bamboozled is that there's a ship, right, that you can see as part of the map, but there's no real place that the ship can go, and it makes me wonder, could there potentially be an island hiding off the coast of the region behind the clouds that we see in the bottom right hand corner? I don't know, it could be interesting to see. I'd love to, have some kind of hidden secrets that we can't even see just yet be a part of this map. Who knows? But like I said, this seems like the next gym, and judging by water typing, I could imagine this is going to be an early game gym. Then from here, let's move straight up to dead center of the, northern half of the island. We have this big, dark looking city. It has an immense, front wall with a dragon head on the front of it. This place looks absolutely insane, and I gotta say, when me and my friends were talking about this just after the game announced, we're like, this is definitely the evil place. This is where the climax of the game is going to take place. We're going to have the evil, the evil team, whoever they're going to be, working out of this town, and we're going to have a big climactic battle with them as we try to, siege control the legendary Pokemon's powers in this town, in this city. I can almost guarantee it. Definitely it's really cool. Hard to tell what's going on in there. There's probably going to be a gym if we can't see one already from this map. you know, we do see big stadium buildings in other places, and maybe the other areas have gyms that are more subtle, who knows. But if we move on over to the left of this city, we have another kind of rocky, craggy, small town, which has a bunch of really cool stuff that you can see in it. First of all, we see another gym, which again, judging by the surroundings, makes me think of a rock or ground type gym. But if you look just to the right of this gym, stadium, whatever you want to call it, we have this weird kind of carving in the side of the rock, and it's kind of hard to tell what it might be, but the first thing I think when I look at it is Doug Trio. Does it not look like, you know, a little bit like a Doug Trio with it has like the big nose and the two eyes? We don't really see the carvings in much detail, but to me it looks like a Doug Trio. Maybe it's meant to be something more in depth, we just can't really see it from the distance that we are seeing in this, you know, map preview. But again, it looks like Doug Trio. I don't know why Doug Trio would be some kind of like, you know, holy Pokemon carved into the side of a mountain in the Galar region, but seems really cool, and this could be another hint to the fact that this is going to be a ground type gym. But even more exciting than the weird Doug Trio carving on the wall, if you look behind the gym, there seems to be some kind of giant mural or painting on the big rock behind it, which to me, again, this is probably going to have some kind of major story significance as you progress through the game. So it's going to be one of those towns where it's not you just walk in and you battle the gym and walk out. It's going to be something really, really story relevant, where you maybe, you know, go and you learn more about the legendary Pokemon or the lore of the town, the Arthurian legend, whatever it might be. So that could be really cool. I'm definitely looking forward to getting to that area of the map. Now let's take our attention to the forest just north of this, you know, rocky town. We see, again, another gym surrounded by a thick forest, and we actually get a nice sort of screenshot of this forest, or at least what I imagine would be this forest. Earlier in the trailer, we can see a bunch of trees and really thick fog, and this place looks really cool to me. I can imagine it's going to be one of those places where you walk into the forest, and if you don't walk the right direction every single time and, you know, make your way through it in a specific order, you're going to find yourself back at the beginning of the forest and have completely lost yourself. So I think that's really, really cool. I'm definitely going to have some fun exploring this area. But the thing is, again, like I said, we see a gym, and judging by the surroundings, I'm imagining this is going to be some kind of ghost type gym, because the forest seems pretty haunted. The place has a really kind of ominous glow with what looks like mushrooms. I'm not too sure, but it seems really cool. Potentially it could be a psychic gym as well, but I think I'm leaning towards ghosts on this one. Either way, let's move our attention over to the far right hand side of the map. We can see an icy area, and like the most, you know, southern part of the icy area, we see another big building, which doesn't seem to be like that interesting, but if you look at the very top of the building, you'll notice that either it's behind the building or actually on the roof of this giant mansion, we have another gym, coliseum, you know, stadium structure. So that makes it, what, 4 gyms that we can see? No, 5 gyms that we can see on the map right now. I can't imagine there's a region with 5 gyms. It seems like a really random number. So there's probably going to be a few more tucked away somewhere that we can't see right now, but still really, really cool. Again, I imagine this is going to be an ice type gym, and judging by the fact that it looks like an ice type gym, as well as it being quite northern in the region, I imagine this is one of the late game gyms, potentially, you know, this last or second last gym. We normally have these ice type gyms as like 7th or 8th in previous regions, so I can imagine that trend would stick here as well. And if you look just south of this big mansion, we see this weird little kind of rocky brownish area, which seems to me like a strength puzzle, but also really deliberate. Like, it doesn't seem to be something that was naturally made. It seems very man-made. It's a very nice rectangle that has extremely different terrain from the other areas around it. Who knows what it could be? I honestly don't, but it seems really cool, and I can literally see myself walking through there in a strength puzzle-like fashion. Either way, let's move on even further north. Beyond the snowy parts of the island, we have an enormous city, something bigger than anything else we've seen so far in the region. And if you guys look closer, you can actually see that it is divided in 2 halves by this big river that goes right across the middle. Now, the way I see this is what's going to be behind the river, or the most northern part of this island, is probably going to end up being the post-game content, and what's going to be south of that river probably seems to be the Pokemon League. So I'd imagine we're going to start at the bottom, make our way all the way to the north, and we're going to face the Pokemon League at the very start once we enter this town. And once we've kind of proved ourselves, become the champions of this new region, we get to access post-game content in the part of the city behind that river. So we see a giant red building. Could that potentially be an enormous Pokemon Center, or maybe a contest building, something like that? Could the tower that we see back there be the battle tower, where you have to do battles on repeat over and over again, climb your way up as you battle through your 100 victories, and you have your 100th battle up top in the giant dome way up in the sky? So that could be really, really cool. Other than that, there's not really much else to see, but this place just screams big city, like post-game content, and I'm hoping it is going to be the post-game area, because it's so big, which makes you think there's going to be a lot of post-game. Either way, guys, that's pretty much everything I want to talk to you guys about this region. There's not too much you can really take away from it because it is a relatively kind of low detailed map. It's really big and all the elements on it are really big, so there's definitely not too much to talk about, but we do kind of see a really cool flow to the area, and I thought I'd give you guys my opinion as to what I think is going to be happening in different parts of the Galar region. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. And of course, if you guys want to see more information and more discussion videos, speculation videos about Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, let me know in the comment section below. And of course, hit that subscribe button because there'll be plenty more coming very soon. Either way, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.